students, this is the chapter number 7, Diversity in Living Organisms. In this chapter, we have already learnt about kingdom Protista and fungi in the previous video lesson. So today we are going to learn about the fourth kingdom given by Robert Whittaker in his 5 kingdom classifications. Students, we all know that plants has served us, animals and various living small creatures by providing shelter, food, by providing oxygen for billions of years ago. So, before moving to the video lesson, let us watch a very short clip of plants. Was the video? Isn't very mesmerizing? Actually, plants are very beautiful and very diverse. So let us learn about their diversity in the coming video. Before this, let us see what we all are going to learn through this video lesson. So basically, you all are going to recall the basic characteristics of plant. We all know plants are eukaryotic, immobile organisms and have the ability to produce food. Moving to next point, that is, you are going to understand why there is a need of classification. Secondly, the third point is you all are going to classify plants under different divisions, and you will be able to relate the knowledge of plants in your surroundings. So these were the basic characteristics on your screen. We all know plants are multicellular, that means they are made up of more than one cell. Cells are performing various functions on the basis of division of labor. All the cells are of PLANTAE kingdom are eukaryotic. That means they possess cell organelles along with some along with a very distinct nucleus. Cell wall is made up of cellulose, and we all know that plant is autotrophic. That means they produce their own food with the help of chloroplast, sunlight, air, or basically carbon dioxide and water. Chloroplasts are the small organelles present in every cell of the plant. And this is the process of photosynthesis showing in the slide. Here you can see leaves prepare food which is stored in the form of starch. Actually, leaves initially prepare glucose which is stored as a reserved food in the form of starch. Plants need carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. They need energy, water and soil. These raw materials helps in building, producing food, and this is how they are called autotrophs. Unlike animals, and we all know that plants are immobile. That means they can't move from one place to another. They can grow, but they can't move. So, in the previous slide, we have learned that all immobile, eukaryotic, autotrophic organisms having cell wall called plants. All the members of PLANTAE kingdom are further classified into 5 divisions on some criteria. What are those criteria? We are going to learn shortly in next slide. But before this, let us see the name of 5 divisions. The first is THALLOPHYTA, second Bryophyta, third Pteridophyta, fourth is Gymnosperm, and the last, fifth division is Angiosperms. Now let us see their basis of criteria. Basis of division in kingdom Plantae. So the first criteria is differentiated body part. What is this? What do we mean by this? Basically, whether the plants are having distinct stem, root, leaves, flower or not. Right? Next is presence of vascular tissue, or we can say presence or absence of vascular tissue. So plants are further classified on this category as well. Those posing vascular tissue, we all know that in chapter tissue there are two types of permanent tissue, simple and complex. So the complex permanent tissues are further classified as xylem and phloem. Xylems are the vascular tissue, helps in conduction of water and minerals. Water and minerals. Next vascular tissue is phloem, which helps in transport of food from leaves to all the other parts. Third is reproduction through seeds or spores. Basically, there are some plants which possess or reproduces by the mode of seed or with the help of spores. Those having seeds are called phanerogams. Okay, and those possess or reproduce by the means of spores are called cryptogam. We are going to learn more about phanerogam and cryptogam in the next slides. Last criteria is whether the seeds are enclosed within the fruit or the seeds are naked. For example, we have seen the seeds of tomatoes. They are present inside the tomato fruit. Okay, so whether the seeds are present inside the fruit or not, there is another two classification, that is angiosperm and gymnosperm. So there are 4 criteria. Let us quickly recap. First is whether the plant body is differentiated or not. Second, presence or absence of vascular tissue. Third, presence of seed or spores. Fourth, whether the seeds are enclosed or naked. So these were the 4 criteria. With this criteria, let us start the first division, division THALLOPHYTA. Before this, let us look at this table. This table gives us the flow chart of classification. So let us start from here. Plants are classified on the basis of first criteria here, that is body is differentiated or not. So you can see plants having undifferentiated body falls under the division THALLOPHYTA, which is our first division of plant kingdom. Now look here, plants having differentiated body, that means just by looking the plant you can clearly identify that yes, it is the stem, yes it is a plant, yes it is a leaf. Okay, so further this is divided into another category called Bryophyta. So we will go through this flow chart and study the divisions. So the first division is division THALLOPHYTA. First of all, let us break this word thallophyta. Thallo means thallus, THALLUS. Phyta meaning plant. So we can say plants having thallus body comes under thallophyta. What is thallus then? Thallus means when the body is not differentiated into root, stems and leaf, that homogeneous structure is called thallus or thalloid body. Okay, you can see here as well. By looking at these pictures, we can't differentiate which part is a stem, where is leaf, where are roots. We can't differentiate here. So this is a homogeneous structure. Okay, so that is your thallophyta. Secondly, and very importantly, thallophyta are known as algae. It is basically a algal group. All the organisms are called algae, and these algae, where do they live? Where can we find them? They are found in aquatic environment. Okay, like in sea, river, water, ponds, you can easily find algae. Algae being green in structure, that means they possess chloroplast. They have chloroplast with them. You can see all these algae are green. Chara, Chlamydomonas, both are spirogyras, both are green. That means they have chlorophyll, or you can say chloroplast, a cell organelle in them. Because of this, they are autotrophic. That is, they can prepare their own food by process of photosynthesis. They prepare their food and stored in the form of starch, which is a complex carbohydrate sugar. Moving to next feature, that is very important, that they do have reproductive organs, which means they have male organ, female organ, but these organs are very single celled and very simple. These organs are simple and single celled. And last, they do not have vascular system. There is no system for conduction of water and minerals and food. So this is the thallophyta, and few examples are there on your screen like Chara, Chlamydomonas, Spirogyra. There are many more like Volvox, Eulothrix. These all are algae. Some algae are unicellular, as you can see, Chlamydomonas, and some are multicellular, like Chara, Spirogyra, Volvox, Eulothrix. All these are multicellular. Chlamydomonas is a unicellular algae. So this is it for Thallophyta. Now moving to next division. But before this, look at this picture carefully. You all can see the green stuff around the plants, around these trees. What is these green structures? These are mosses. These are MOSSES. What are mosses? Mosses are basically simple plants. Listen carefully. Mosses are simple plants having stem-like, root-like structures. So, are they come under Thallophyta? Obviously not. Why? Because their body is differentiated, as I said, differentiated into stem-like, root-like structures. So they fall under a different division, that is division of Bryophyta. Bryo means moss and phyta means plant. So this is basically a moss division. Okay, bryo means moss. Let me just write. Phyta is plant. So very distinctive features, and you can see there is an advancement from THALLOPHYTA to Bryophyta. THALLOPHYTA having thallus body. Bryophyta body is differentiated. Okay, unlike THALLOPHYTA. The body is differentiated, but differentiated into leaves like, stems like, and roots like structure. What do we mean by roots like? Basically, these are not true roots. They are root like structures called rhizoids. Here you can see on your screen, I have shown a diagram of funaria, which is a bryophyte. Okay, funaria, which is a bryophyte showing rhizoids. Rhizoids are root like structures. They basically help in anchoring with the soil and helps in deriving nutrition from the soil. So they work like roots, but they are not roots actually. Moreover, leaves, these are not actual leaves. They look like leaves, but they are not leaves. Members of bryophyte are usually found in damp and moist areas. Moving to third point, very important point, student, that is why bryophyta are called amphibians of plant kingdom. Basically, these bryophytes require aquatic as well as terrestrial habitat to complete its life cycle. It requires land for performing photosynthesis by getting solar energy from the sunlight, driving nutrients from the land, and it requires water for reproduction. The male reproductive organs releases male gametes in water, which is carried away by the water current, and when this male gamete reaches to female gamete, they will fuse and produces new bryophyte. Okay, so next feature is they are lacking vascular tissues. There is no xylem and phloem for conduction of water and minerals. These organisms are very small and they are herbaceous. That means they are green all over. Okay, and few examples are Markentia, Rixia, Funaria. You can see on your screen Markentia, Rixia, underlined, because whenever we write scientific name that has to be underlined, and that is Funaria. So we have covered specific characteristics of Bryophyta and some general characteristics like plant. They are autotrophic, they are eukaryotic, multicellular. All these are the general characteristics. Moving to the next division, now let us talk about some new plants. On your screen, this is the picture of a fern, which we have usually seen as an ornamental plant in our garden, in our house, right? So these ferns come under a new division, that is Pteridophyta. Why they are classified under Pteridophyta? Because they possess certain characteristics. What are these? Firstly, the general characteristic that these pteridophytes are found in moist, shady, damp places. They basically avoid sunlight. You must have seen between the cracks of rocks some life forms, these fern-like structure. So all these are the members of Pteridophyta. Very interesting fact about Pteridophyta is that They are first terrestrial plants. Why they are called so? Because they have adapted themselves very successfully on the land because of some features, like their body is differentiated into roots, stem and leaves. It is one of the feature of their successful adaptation. Second is that these pteridophytes have developed with the evolution vascular and specialized tissues in them. They possess vascular system, xylem and phloem for the means of conduction of water and minerals and food respectively. Talking about their mode of reproduction, so they reproduce by the means of spores. You can see in this picture leaf bearing brown structures. These brown structures are present underneath of leaves, and these brown structures are called spores. What are exactly spores? Spores are naked embryos. We all know when the male gamete and female gamete fuses, they form zygote, which is a one-celled. When the zygote further divide, it leads to the production of embryos. So when the embryo is not covered, is called spore. And these spores, under favorable conditions, grow and produces new members of Pteridophyta. Very interestingly, these pteridophytas have root, stem, leaves, but they do not bear flowers and seeds like advanced plants which we see around us. We have seen tomato plant. It has a fruit, flower, right? But these members are lacking such interesting features in them. And you will be surprised to know that Pteridophyta means fern plant. So Pteridophyta derive its name from the fern itself, because Pteridophyta forms from two words, pteris meaning fern and phyta meaning plant. That is, it is a fern members family. So here are some other examples. This is Selaginella, found usually in seas, in water. This is Equisitum, underlined, and this is Pteris, which we usually call a fern. One more interesting fact about these, that they are sometimes called snake of plant kingdom. They are called snake of plant kingdom because you can see that Selaginella grows very close to the ground. Like snakes creep on the land, some species of Pteridophyta, they creep on the land. That is why they are called snakes of plant kingdom as well. So let us recap that pteridophytes are the first terrestrial plants. They grow in moist and damp areas. Their body is differentiated. They lack flowers, seeds, but bear spores for reproduction. Okay, this is, and these are the few examples of pteridophyta. Well, students, you all have learnt about THALLOPHYTA, Bryophyta and Pteridophyta. The interesting fact is that organisms under these three divisions show three common characteristics. These are, first one, all have hidden reproductive organs. Second, all are non-flowering and hence they do not bear seeds. Last, that they reproduce by the means of spores. So all the living organisms that shows these three characteristics, they are placed or classified under a subkingdom, that is cryptogams. So we can say kingdom Plantae is subclassified under two categories: a category of non-flowering plants, which is called cryptogamy or cryptogams, and a category of flowering plants, which is called phanerogams, that we will learn in next video. Phanero, G-A-M-S. Phanerogams. This slide we have covered these three divisions. Now let's recapitulate. All the THALLOPHYTA members are simple plant and they are called algae. Few examples are Spirogyra, Chara, Eulothrix, Volvox. There are many more. Bryophyta, we have learned they are called amphibians of plant kingdom. Their body is differentiated into root-like, stem-like structures, and few examples are Funaria, Marchantia. Last division, Pteridophyta, they were the first terrestrial plants. Their body was differentiated and they have developed vascular tissues. Few examples: Marsalia, Teres, Equisetum, Selagilena. So that is all for cryptogams. Now it's your home assignment time. So first question we have is true or false. So there are four set of questions presenting on your screen. These are true false questions. Next we have writing sections. So here are four questions. Kindly read these four questions and write your answers in your notebook. Thank you so much. We will continue flowering plant section in the new video.